The film opens with Violet Gates enduring a brutal assault at the hands of her abusive husband, Blake. Bloodied and terrified, she finds herself staring down the barrel of a gun, only for Blake to force the weapon into her hands. He dares her to pull the trigger. Trembling and screaming, Violet hesitates, then wraps her finger around it. Years pass. Blake is dead. Now living in Chicago with her 5-year-old son, Toby, Violet is trying to rebuild her life. She's channeled her trauma into purpose, working with survivors of abuse. She's also begun cautiously exploring romance again, chatting with a man named Henry Campbell, a photographer at the mayor's office, on a dating app. After weeks of messaging, they finally set a time to meet in person. On the night of their date, Violet's younger sister Jen arrives to watch Toby. She helps Violet choose an outfit and offers some gentle reassurance. Henry won't be like Blake. Violet heads to Pallet, an upscale restaurant perched on a high floor with sweeping views. Henry texts to say he's running late, so she makes her way to the bar. On her way, she accidentally bumps into a man named Connor. She continues on, ordering a glass of wine from Kara, the warm and attentive bartender. Soon, a man named Richard approaches, mistaking Violet for his blind date, Diane. When the real Diane shows up moments later, she looks visibly disappointed, a reaction Violet quietly notes. As the evening progresses, Violet also fends off flirtation from Phil, the restaurant's piano player, until Kara steps in to explain she's waiting for someone. Meanwhile, Violet's phone begins lighting up with unexpected memes from a quirky app called DigiDrop. Henry finally arrives, and he and Violet are escorted to their table. As a thoughtful gesture, he presents her with a hockey puck. Something for Toby, he says. Touched, Violet finds the gift sweet and unexpected. The evening begins on a warm note, until their overly eager waiter, Matt, appears. Hoping to impress, he launches into an impromptu comedy routine that borders on awkward before taking their drink orders. Meanwhile, Violet's phone buzzes again. More meme-like drops from the DigiDrop app flash across her screen, each message more persistent than the last. Henry brushes it off, guessing someone nearby is pulling a prank. But when the messages suddenly begin addressing Violet by name, unease sets in. Then, everything changes. A new drop comes in, showing a live feed from inside Violet's home. Her blood runs cold. A masked man is there, armed and standing in her living room. The dropper reveals that Violet's phone has been cloned. He can see every call, every text, every move she makes. If she so much as tries to alert Henry or anyone else, the man will kill Toby. Violet excuses herself and rushes to the bathroom, hoping to whisper for help from a group of prom girls. But the dropper is still listening. The bathroom, and even the lamp at her table, has been bugged. No move is safe. She tries to suggest a new table, one away from the towering window overlooking the city, but the dropper quickly intervenes. "Sit back down," he warns. "Or Toby dies." The dropper gives her the next instruction: retrieve the SD card from Henry's camera. To do so, Violet feigns losing her watch, giving Henry a reason to leave the table. Alone, she rifles through his camera bag, eventually finding and pocketing the SD card, its contents shocking, compromising photos of the mayor. Back in the bathroom, the dropper escalates. "Destroy the card," he says. Then, check the paper towel dispenser. Inside, Violet finds a small vial of clear liquid, poison. The dropper orders her to slip it into Henry's drink and kill him. Horrified, Violet refuses. But the dropper pushes back, hinting darkly, "You've already killed once, haven't you?" Desperate and afraid, Violet scans the restaurant, looking for any clue to the dropper's identity. She bumps into Connor again and questions him, but he insists he's just waiting for his sister. Across the room, Violet watches Diane storm away from Richard, loudly calling him a jerk and a loser. Violet returns to the table, her nerves unraveling. As Matt takes their dinner orders, Violet notices something odd. Phil, the restaurant's piano player, is now playing Baby Shark, the same silly tune she jokingly suggested earlier. Uneasy but thinking fast, she writes 2 hostages on a $20 bill and folds it into a tip for Matt, asking him to give it to Phil. Matt obliges, and Phil discreetly reads the message at the bar. But as Phil returns to the piano, something's wrong. He begins to wobble, his face going pale. He collapses briefly, then staggers toward the lobby, barely making it before collapsing again. Phil is dead. On the security feed from her phone, Violet watches in horror as the masked man ambushes her sister Jen and knocks her unconscious. He then locks Toby inside his bedroom. Violet keeps pretending to have tense phone calls with Jen, trying to mask her distress. Henry, noticing her distracted state, assumes she's losing interest in the date. As he begins to get up and leave, the dropper issues a command: keep him there. In desperation, Violet kisses Henry, stopping him. Surprised, he stays. She quickly suggests they do tequila shots. At the bar, Kara, the bartender, senses something is off. Violet's energy is tense, distracted, but Violet plays it cool, ordering the shots before returning to the table. Back at their booth, Henry mentions that he saw Violet's watch fall from her purse. She tries to laugh it off, offering a flimsy excuse. When he goes to the bar for limes, Violet seizes the moment, slipping the vial of poison into one of the shot glasses. But Kara mentions something that catches Henry's attention. She said no limes. Suspicion creeps in. Henry returns to the table, and Violet shifts gears, asking what made him message her in the first place, even after learning she was a widowed single mom. Henry opens up. He talks about his admiration for her resilience. Eventually, she shares her own experience with an abusive partner. For a moment, there's real connection. But then, he lifts the poisoned shot. Thinking quickly, Violet knocks over her wine, soaking Henry's shirt. As he gets up to clean it, the dropper sends another chilling message. Violet scans the restaurant. Connor is nearby. She approaches him, eyes narrowed, convinced he might be the dropper, until a woman arrives and greets him warmly. His sister. He's not involved. Kara approaches Violet cautiously and quietly asks if she needs help getting away from Henry. But Violet shakes her head. He's not the problem. Instead, she asks about Connor's sister. Kara glances toward the dining area and says she comes in all the time, but something's off. She usually sits at a different table. Tonight, she's in a new spot, the one right next to where Richard has been sitting all night. Kara leans in, lowering her voice. Honestly, I get why Diane stormed out. That guy's been watching you since you walked in. Something clicks. Violet's stomach turns as she walks over to Richard's table and confronts him. No more guessing. He's the dropper. Richard admits it with smug calm. He works with powerful people, the kind who operate behind the mayor's polished image. Phil? Collateral. Poisoned the second he tried to help. As for Henry, he's considered a rat, collecting damning evidence. Violet? She was just the perfect scapegoat, a grieving widow with a tragic backstory, caught on security slipping poison into a drink. If Henry died, it would look like she finally snapped. But Violet knows something Richard doesn't. In a brief flashback, we see what really happened with Blake. He had taken the gun back and nearly shot Toby. But as sirens wailed in the distance, he turned the weapon on himself. Violet didn't kill him. He made that choice. Just then, Henry returns to the table. Trapped, Violet hands him the tequila shot. He drinks it. Richard smirks, already savoring his victory. He digs into his panna cotta. Violet watches. You know, she says evenly, Blake ate that same dessert once, an apology dinner. Classic move, hurt someone, then serve them something sweet to cover the stench. Richard pauses. Violet leans forward. I never poisoned the shot, she says. I slipped into the dessert while you were too busy watching Henry. Realization hits Richard too late. His vision swims. Furious, he lurches to his feet and pulls a gun, aiming it at Violet. He fires, but Henry dives in, taking the bullet for her. Panic explodes across the restaurant. Diners scream and scramble. Richard fires again wildly. Kara tries to intervene, but is stabbed in the back. As chaos erupts, Richard snarls into his phone, ordering the masked man to kill Jen and Toby. Violet acts. She grabs the hockey puck Henry gave her earlier. Richard had already shattered the window behind him with a stray bullet. Violet hurls the puck through it. The pressure drop is immediate. The wind roars. The broken window gives way, and Richard is sucked backward. Violet nearly follows, hanging on to the edge, but Henry, bleeding and gasping, grabs her hand and holds on. They call for medics and police as Henry hands Violet his car keys, letting her drive home. Violet weaves through heavy traffic, desperate to get home, while Jen regains consciousness and rushes to help Toby. The masked man attacks, but Jen manages to stab him in the leg and scrambles to hide with Toby. He breaks through their hiding spot and shoots Violet in the arm as Toby narrowly escapes. Violet arrives home and engages in a fierce struggle with the masked man. Just as he prepares to kill her, Toby cleverly uses his toy car to deliver the man's gun to Violet. She grabs it and shoots the masked man dead, then races to Toby and Jen. In the aftermath, Richard's murder plot is uncovered, leading to the arrest of the mayor and several of his associates. Violet visits Henry in the hospital during his recovery, bringing him food. Later, she receives more mysterious drops on her phone, but it turns out to be Jen, just down the hall, playing a prank and stopping by to meet Henry. Smiling, Violet asks Henry if he'd be interested in a boring second date. He replies that he'd love nothing more.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.